The kitchen window framed the night sky perfectly, stars scattered like sugar across black velvet. Julia hummed softly as she arranged cookies on a plate, the same ritual she'd performed every evening for the past 3 years. 6 cookies, always 6, placed on the back porch before midnight. "You're doing it again," Oscar said from the doorway, his arms crossed but his expression fond. He'd grown accustomed to his wife's peculiar habit, though he'd never quite understood it. "The children need their snacks," Julia replied simply, adding a small bowl of warm milk beside the plate. Her dark hair caught the moonlight as she stepped outside, and Oscar noticed, not for the first time, how her eyes seemed to reflect starlight in an unusual way. "What children, love?" he asked gently, following her onto the porch. They lived alone in this cottage at the forest's edge, miles from the nearest town. There were no children here, no neighbors, no midnight visitors that Oscar had ever seen. Julia smiled. That mysterious smile that had first captivated him years ago. "You'll see them someday, perhaps, when the time is right." Oscar shook his head affectionately and returned inside. He'd learned not to press. Julia had her secrets, her strange ways, but she was kind and loving, and that was enough for him. If she wanted to leave cookies for imaginary children, what harm could it do? What Oscar didn't see, what he could never see with his ordinary human eyes, was the shimmer that appeared in the air moments after Julia went back inside. 3 small shapes materialized, translucent in the moonlight, with scales that caught and refracted the stars. They were no bigger than house cats, with wings folded against their serpentine bodies and eyes like molten gold. Mother left snacks again. The smallest one chirped, his voice like wind chimes. His name was Spark, and he was always the hungriest. "Quiet, Spark," hissed his sister, Ember, slightly larger and more cautious. The human might hear. The third dragon, Ash, the eldest and most thoughtful, landed delicately beside the plate. "He cannot hear us. Mother has ensured it. He exists in his world, we in ours, and Mother walks between." They devoured the cookies with the enthusiasm of young dragons who'd traveled far. These nightly journeys from the Mother Star were exhausting, even through the pathways their mother maintained, but they came faithfully, drawn by love and hunger in equal measure. "I wish we could meet him," Spark said through a mouthful of chocolate chip cookie. "The human father, he is not our father," Ember corrected. "Mother chose him for companionship in her exile, but he knows nothing of what she truly is." Ash looked toward the cottage window where Oscar's silhouette moved behind curtains. Perhaps that's why she chose him, someone who could love her for who she appears to be, not what she rules. Inside, Julia stood before a mirror, her reflection showing not the human woman Oscar saw, but something else entirely. Her true form rippled beneath the surface scales of midnight blue, eyes like twin suns, wings that could span galaxies folded impossibly small within her human frame. She was Celesta, the Dragon Empress, ruler of the Mother Star and guardian of the ancient pathways between worlds. She had fled her throne 3 years ago, weary of court politics and endless cosmic responsibilities. She'd wanted something simple, a cottage, a garden, a husband who loved her without knowing her power. But she couldn't abandon her children entirely. Her 3 youngest, still too small to rule in her stead, still needing their mother's care, so she'd struck a bargain with reality itself. By day, she would be Julia, human and ordinary, making jam and tending roses. By night, she would leave tokens for her true children, small gestures of love across the vast distances of space. "Julia," Oscar's voice pulled her back. She let her human form settle completely, the scales and light fading beneath skin. "Are you coming to bed?" "In a moment," she called back, watching through the window as her children finished their snacks. Spark was chasing his tail, Ember was grooming her wings, and Ash sat gazing at the stars, at the Mother Star, where his older siblings ruled in their mother's absence. A pang of guilt struck her. Was she wrong to stay away, to choose this small life over her cosmic duties? But then Oscar appeared behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist, and she leaned into his warmth. Here, she wasn't an empress. She wasn't responsible for the balance of celestial powers or the governance of starfaring dragons. She was just Julia, and she was loved for nothing more than being herself. Outside, Ash sensed the moment approaching. "Time to go," he announced, "before the dawn catches us." The 3 young dragons launched into the air, their forms dissolving into starlight. They would return to the Mother Star, to the palace where the Council of Elders maintained order in their mother's absence, where their older siblings shouldered burdens too heavy for their young wings. Julia watched them go, her heart aching and full simultaneously. Someday, she knew, she would have to return. Someday Oscar would have to know the truth, but not tonight. Tonight, she would simply be human, simply be loved, and in the morning, the plate on the porch would be empty, and Oscar would shake his head and smile, and they would continue their strange, comfortable life at the edge of the ordinary world. The mother star pulsed in the sky above, a beacon and a burden, a crown and a cage. But Julia turned away from it, took Oscar's hand, and chose, for one more night, to be small, to be simple, to be human. And on the porch, where cookie crumbs sparkled with more than just sugar, the space between worlds hummed with a love that defied distance, duty, and even reality itself.